Hi everyone, in this chapter we are going to create a fun memory card game. Alright, so what is this game and how does it work? So we have 12 cards here. Each on the front side of each card we have the same image, which is like a bunch of question marks, all right? And on the back side, which is actually that back side is the front side, okay? On the back side we have a picture of a specific animal, all right? So even though we have 12 cards, we have 6 sets of animals. And each animal has 2 images. They are identical. And whenever we find the first image for that animal and the second exact identical image for that animal, then those 2 cards, they are like completed, right? So let's go ahead and let's see. So if I click on this question mark, we see a cat. So let's go ahead and click on this one. We see a bird. They do not match. The cat and the bird images, they do not match. That's why the cards, they unflipped again. So let's click on this question mark and let's click on this one, because this is a hamster and this is a bird. They do not match. But I do remember that we had a bird here and a bird here. Now both of the images, they match. That's why they're going to stay. Now these 2 cards, they are solved. Let's click here and click here. This is solved as well. Let's click here and click here. Is not solved. Let's click here and here. That is solved. Let's click in here, click this one, and it should be this one. No, it wasn't. So whenever we click on this one and this one, both of them are going to hold and these 2 are going to hold. So now you guys can see that even though there are 12 cards, we have 6 like sets of images. All right, so we have 2 cats, the same image, and when we find both of the identical images, they're going to stay. And when we refresh, when we click, now the images, they're shuffled. Now we had a cat here, a curious cat. Now we have a bird. If we refresh, we are going to have another cat. Refresh, we are going to have the same bird. We're going to have baby bear. Now each time these are going to be different. All right, so this is how this game is going to work. Now let's go over the HTML part. The HTML part is in CSS, they're very, very phenomenally easy. All right, so we have a section that is the memory game, and inside the section we have our 12 cards, which I have neatly organized here. So because I do not want you guys to get confused, this is card number 8 all the way to card number 12, and this is our JavaScript file. All right, so inside each of the card, for each of the card, first off, we have a div that has an attribute of class of memory card and a data name of baby bear. Now this data attribute, data dash attribute, is a very cool and handy attribute. You can call it data name. Now this data is something provided by HTML, but this name is something that I've provided. You can call it data dash animal dash name dash whatever you want, and then through this we will make sure that both of the images, they match. So for the baby bear image, we have the same data names. That's why they match. When they match, they stay. And we also have a question mark, which is our question mark image, which I got from Pixabay. Very, very cool. I didn't want to do like font awesome icons. I wanted to do something different. The alt is question mark and the class is backface, because the question mark is actually backface and the image itself is going to be the front face. At first, we are not going to be able to see the front face. So this is the HTML structure. Coming into the CSS, our reset, basic styles for the body. We have a height for our memory game container and also a width of 1200. All right, and because we have 12 cards in there, we have very conveniently set display flex. Now the width and the height for our memory cards, they're going to be dynamic, right? Because of the margin. We do not want them to overflow, because margin is 5 pixels and this is a margin shorthand. 5 pixels is for top, bottom, left, and right. So for the width is like in the X direction, so we are dealing with margin left and margin right. So margin left is 5 pixels, margin right is 5 pixels, 5 plus 5, 10, and we have deducted the width of this width by 10 pixels, and the same thing for the height. And we have the front face, the back face, some very basic styling. Now this back face visibility is very cool because we have rotated the front face of our card by 180 degrees. Turn is a unit that you can use in CSS. It's a very, very cool unit. And whenever the memory card is flip, it has a dynamic class of flip, we are going to add a rotate Y of 180 degrees, right? So whenever any element is rotated, we will be able to see the back face of that element. But we do not want to see that, because whenever we click on this, we do not want to see the back face of the question mark. We want to see the other image, which is on the back side. That's why we hide the back side or the back face of the element, because they are rotated by 180 degrees. And the perspective function provides us with the perspective. Whenever you rotate something, they tend to be in the 3D space. If you rotate them 2D, then it means that there is no perspective. The perspective is a value. For example, if I set it to, you know what, I'm going to change it right here, and let's come here and let's put it to, you know what, I'm going to put it to 100 pixels. And when I click on it, it's very, very sudden. And okay, let's put it to 2 seconds. Is it 2 seconds? No, it isn't 2 seconds. It's the other one. 2 seconds. It seems like it's hitting us in the face, right? And this is what actually gives this 3D sort of illusion to the user, because the computer screen is 2D, all right? How can you apply 3D animations and graphics in a 2D screen? It's done through these sort of perspective functions in CSS. When you do perspective, it means that it is going to rotate in the third dimension, right? It's going to rotate and the rotation is going to feel like it's 3D, right? So that's why we do perspective. If we don't do it, then it is not going to look like that. All right, so the bigger the value of the perspective, it means that the smaller the change is going to be. And the smaller the value, the change is going to be bigger. So we had 1000 pixels for this, because the value is big, the change is going to be very small. But when the value is 100 pixels, for example, right here, this is the value for the perspective, it's 100 pixels for the project that I just showed you. When the value is smaller, the change is going to be bigger. It means that the screen is closer to you. When the perspective is big, it means that the screen is more like it's further away from you. And when it is further away, the change is going to be subtle. All right? So this is going to be it for the HTML and the CSS part of this project. In the starting next lecture, we are going to go over the JavaScript. See you guys in the next lecture.